Hi, everyone. I'm Nancy, and this is the story of how my life turned upside down. I never thought I'd be sharing something like this, but here we are. On the surface, everything seemed perfect. At 25, I was thriving as a software engineer at TechFlow Solutions, living with my dad, David, and my stepmom, Karen, in our suburban home. My birth mom passed away from cancer when I was just 5, and dad remarried when I was 12. Karen brought her own children into the mix, Tyler and Ashley, now 19 and 17. Nancy, honey, could you help Ashley with her college applications? She's struggling with the essays. Karen called one evening while I was deep in my coding. Sure, I can spare some time this weekend. Actually, Tyler needs the weekend for his gaming tournament. Maybe next week. That was how it always went. Her kids' needs came first. But it was subtle, wrapped in sweet words and family rhetoric that made it hard to push back. Have you thought about moving out? My best friend Amanda asked over coffee last week. You've got a great job. Dad wants me to stay. Plus, the house has been in our family for generations, I replied. Amanda's expression shifted. Speaking of the house, she leaned closer. James mentioned seeing Karen at the bank yesterday. My boyfriend James works at the local bank and had recently noticed Karen making frequent visits. She's been pushing Dad to put the house in her name, I confided. She says it's for estate planning purposes. Later that evening, I was helping Dad with dinner when Karen glided into the kitchen. Nancy, dear, she said, her voice syrupy sweet. I was going through some old boxes in the attic today and found some interesting family papers. Mom's papers? I perked up, always eager for any connection to my late mother. Oh, all sorts of things, Karen replied, her smile not quite reaching her eyes. Makes you wonder about family secrets, doesn't it? There was something about her tone that sent a shiver down my spine. Before I could press further, my phone buzzed. It was Grandma Martha. Come over for tea tomorrow, dear, she said. I made your favorite cookies. Grandma Martha had been my rock since Mom passed. At 75, she was sharp as a tack and saw right through Karen's facade. Your mother would be so proud of you, she told me over tea the next day. You're just like her, strong, smart, and kind. Karen's been acting weird lately, Grandma, dropping hints about family secrets. That woman's always stirring up trouble. Keep your eyes open, Nancy, and remember this house. Your grandfather built it with his own hands. It's your heritage. I nodded, but unease settled in my gut. That night, as I walked past Karen's office, I overheard her on the phone. No, he doesn't suspect anything, she whispered. Yes, I'm working on the house situation. Don't worry, everything's going according to plan. The girl, she won't be a problem much longer. My heart raced. James had been right. I needed to watch Karen closely. I texted Amanda. Emergency wine night needed. Karen's up to something. On my way, she replied instantly. And I'm bringing that file I told you about. Little did I know, this was just the beginning of unraveling a web of lies that would shake our family to its core. The annual Christmas dinner was in full swing at our house. Aunts, uncles, cousins, everyone was there. Karen had been hitting the wine hard since noon, her face growing redder with each glass. Time for presents, Tyler announced, pulling out his phone. Yeah, Ashley chimed in, especially since this might be our last Christmas altogether. I caught their strange smirks but brushed it off as teenage weirdness. Everyone gathered around the tree, and that's when Karen stumbled to the center of the room. Before we start the gift exchange, she slurred, I have an announcement to make. Dad's face tightened. Karen, maybe we should wait. No, David, they all need to know the truth, Karen announced, her voice wobbling from both drink and venom. She yanked a stack of wrinkled papers from her cardigan. I found these in the attic last week. Love letters between Nancy's mother and her real father. The room went deathly silent. My heart froze. Nancy isn't your daughter, David, Karen sneered, holding the papers up like a prize. Her mother had an affair with a man named Richard. Look at the dates, they match perfectly. I couldn't breathe. My vision blurred as Tyler and Ashley circled me, their phones trained on my face, recording every second of my humiliation. That's impossible, I whispered, my voice barely audible. Dad. But Dad just stood there, pale as snow, frozen in place. His silence hit me like a knife to the chest. Karen's words slurred as she pointed a finger at me. I always knew something was off about you. You never quite fit in, and now we know why. Aunt Sarah stepped forward, her tone sharp. Karen, you're drunk. This isn't the time or the place. This is my house. Karen shrieked, her voice piercing. And I want her out, no strangers under my roof. I turned to Dad, desperate. Please say something, I begged, my voice cracking. He finally spoke, his tone hollow. I need time to process this. Process what? Karen snapped, shaking the letters in his face. It's all right here. Pack your things, Nancy. You're not welcome here anymore. The room erupted into murmurs, but I didn't stay to hear them. I stumbled to my car, tears blinding me as I drove to Amanda's apartment. My phone buzzed incessantly with notifications. Tyler and Ashley had already posted clips online. Look how the fake daughter runs away. Family fraud exposed on Christmas. Best present ever, getting rid of the imposter. Amanda opened her door and I collapsed into her arms. Those letters have to be fake, Nancy, she said, her voice firm. We'll figure this out. Later that night, my phone lit up with a text from Dad. I need some time. Please understand. Amanda's jaw tightened as she read it. Some father, she muttered. He doesn't even defend you. I curled up on her couch, shattered. Christmas carols drifted faintly from a neighbor's apartment, a cruel reminder of how quickly my world had fallen apart. The next few days were a blur. Clips of the incident spread like wildfire through our social circle. Friends and relatives sent messages, some supportive, others not. I cut off contact with everyone except Grandma Martha, who immediately moved me into her guest room. I never liked that woman, Grandma muttered over coffee one morning. Did you know she was married 3 times before your father? What? I asked, startled. Dad said she was only married once before. Grandma's eyes narrowed. Oh, honey, she buried those marriages deeper than Jimmy Hoffa. Same pattern every time. Wealthy men with children. And those children, they always became problems. Amanda, ever the investigator, began digging. Look at this, Nancy, she said, sliding her laptop over to me. Karen Thompson, then Karen Williams, then Karen Reynolds, now Karen Mitchell. She's like a black widow of family destruction. James joined the effort, using his position at the bank to uncover more. Nancy, these transactions are sketchy, he said, showing me his findings. Your dad's accounts have regular transfers to offshore accounts, starting right after the Christmas disaster. She's bleeding him dry. My phone buzzed again. Another taunt from Tyler. Hey, fake sis. Just making sure your coworkers know what a fraud you are. My boss called me into their office that afternoon. This needs to stop, Nancy, they said. I know, I replied, barely holding it together. That evening, I got a call from an unfamiliar number. Is this Nancy Mitchell? This is Robert Thompson, Karen's first husband. My hands trembled as I put him on speaker for Amanda to hear. She did the same thing to my daughter, Emma, he revealed. Claimed she found evidence Emma wasn't mine. Nearly destroyed our relationship before we uncovered Karen's forgery. She walked away with half my assets before we could prove the fraud. I need a DNA test, I declared. 2 weeks later, the results arrived, 99.9% match with David Mitchell. He was my father. No doubt about it. James burst into Grandma's house that same afternoon, waving more papers. Got it, he exclaimed. Karen's been funneling money through a fake charity. Classic embezzlement, and those letters? She bought them from a vintage store. Here's the receipt. Amanda chimed in, triumphant, and her ex-husbands are all willing to testify. She's done this before, isolating, alienating, and then draining accounts. But she's never faced consequences because no one connected the dots. Until now. My phone buzzed again, this time with a text from Tyler. Mom's losing it since you left. She's drinking more, talking crazy. Dad's starting to ask questions. Good, I muttered. Let him ask. Just then, another call came through, Karen's second husband. We need to talk, he said. Karen didn't just steal money from us. She forged documents, stole identities. I've been gathering evidence for years, waiting for someone else to see through her act. Amanda gripped my hand. This is it, Nancy. We've got her. It's time to end this, I said, organizing the files. Dad needs to see everything. Grandma Martha nodded, her expression grim. That woman picked the wrong granddaughter to mess with. We arranged a family meeting at Grandma's house. Dad, Tyler, Ashley, and all three of Karen's ex-husbands showed up. Karen waltzed in last, her confident smirk faltering as she saw the crowd and the evidence laid out before her. When Karen walked in and saw everyone gathered, her confident smirk faltered. Robert Thompson was the first to stand. "Remember me, Karen," he said, his voice cold. Or should I say Karen Williams? Or was it Reynolds back then? Dad's face went pale. "What's he talking about, Karen?" Karen's eyes darted around the room. "David, I can explain." "Let me show you," I interrupted, holding up the files. Bank statements showing transfers to offshore accounts. The so-called Christmas letters. Here's the receipt where you bought them from an antique store. Tyler and Ashley shifted uncomfortably, their phones now eerily silent. "And here's my DNA test," I continued, my voice steady. 99.9% match. I am Dad's daughter. Always have been. You little. Karen lunged forward, but James stepped in, blocking her path. "Mrs. Mitchell," he said calmly, "I've documented every suspicious transaction you've made at the bank. Fraud, embezzlement, identity theft. It's all here." Ashley's voice trembled. "Mom, what did you do?" Dad picked up the files with shaking hands, flipping through the damning evidence. His voice was barely audible. 3 previous marriages, all ending in fraud accusations. "Karen, who are you?" "David, I can explain," Karen pleaded. "Save it," Robert interjected. "She gave me the same speech when I caught her stealing from my daughter's college fund." Tyler suddenly stood, his face red with anger. "That's why you kept pushing me not to go to college. Because you were stealing my tuition money." Karen's mask cracked, her composure crumbling. She sank into a chair, tears streaming down her face. "Nancy, please," she begged, her voice desperate. "I'm sorry. I was just trying to protect our family." "Our family?" I laughed bitterly. "You and your bank account." Dad straightened up, his expression hard and determined. He looked years older. "I want a divorce," he said firmly, "and I'm pressing charges." "Daddy, no," Ashley cried, tears spilling down her cheeks. "She's still our mom." "A mom who was stealing your future," James pointed out gently. "Check your college accounts." The aftermath was swift and decisive. Dad filed for divorce, and Karen's past victims began coming forward in droves. Her carefully curated life collapsed like a house of cards. 1 year later, I sat in my new office as a senior software engineer. James' ring sparkled on my finger as I skimmed the latest updates. Karen was facing multiple lawsuits, while Tyler and Ashley had chosen to live with their biological father. They refused to speak to her. This Christmas was different. Dad, Grandma Martha, Amanda, James, and even Tyler and Ashley gathered at my new house. There were no hidden agendas, no secret documents, just family, real family. "Merry Christmas, baby girl," Dad said, pulling me into a tight hug. His voice cracked. "I'm so sorry I ever doubted you." Across town, Karen sat alone in her tiny rented studio apartment, surrounded by court summons and lawyer bills. Her schemes had finally caught up with her. And karma? Well, karma had my back. What would you have done if you were in my shoes that night? Would you have stayed quiet and gathered evidence like I did, or confronted Karen in front of everyone?